The lawyer's office smelled like old money and fresh betrayal. Mahogany walls, Persian rugs thick enough to bury secrets. Dad's will lay on the table between us, crisp as a $100 bill. My brother Derek leaned back, fingers steepled, smirking like he'd already won. As you know, the lawyer began. Your father left equal 50% shares of the Black Ridge Vineyard, valued at $12 million, to both sons. I nodded. Fair. Derek hadn't spoken to Dad in 5 years. I'd changed his bedpan for 18 months, while cancer ate him alive. However, the lawyer slid new documents toward me. This amended will, signed 3 days before his death, leaves Derek 99% and Alex 1%. 1%. The number burned my retinas. Derek's smirk widened. Dad finally recognized who really cared. Bullshit. Dad couldn't hold a pen those last weeks, couldn't even sip water without choking. I stared at Dad's signature. Loopy. Confident. Nothing like the trembling scratches I'd watched him make on birthday cards. Why? My voice sounded hollow, distant. Derek pocketed the keys to the vineyard's tasting room. You were always bad with money, little brother. Dad wanted it protected. Outside, rain lashed the windows. Or maybe it was the sound of 12 years of brotherhood drowning. Rewind 6 months. Derek's black Range Rover crunched up the vineyard's gravel drive. He hadn't visited since Dad's diagnosis. Now he came bearing gifts. A $3,000 humidor. Dad quit cigars in '09. A medicinal cannabis tincture. Dad hated being high. And a silver-tongued sob story. I've changed, Dad. Forgive me. I should have known. When a shark smiles, it's not friendship. It's measuring your ribs for chewing. Derek moved into the East Wing. Started helping with finances. You focus on Dad's meds, he'd say, clapping my shoulder. I'll handle the boring paperwork. Red flags I ignored. 1. He changed the estate lawyer. 2. Lost the deed to the South 40 acres. 3. Convinced Dad to restructure the trust. For tax benefits. Our sister Claire caught him, stormed into the library waving bank statements. You transferred $500,000 to a Cayman account. Derek sighed. Claire, sweetheart, you don't understand high finance. She spat back. I understand theft. 2 days later, her Porsche veered off Skyline Drive. The hospital reeked of antiseptic and lies. Claire's face was a mosaic of stitches. Brake failure, the cop said. Tragic accident. Derek wept at her bedside. Thank God you survived. I waited until he left, held her unbroken hand. What really happened? Her whisper was raw. Derek texted, meet me at the Overlook, bring the documents. When I braked, nothing. Just silence. I found her car in the impound lot. The brake lines weren't cut. They were replaced with cheap tubing designed to burst under pressure. Derek's alibi was airtight, at a charity auction with 200 witnesses. But I knew his tricks. In high school, he'd framed me for stealing Principal Harris's watch. At 22, he'd forged Mom's signature to drain her jewelry fund. This was Derek 3.0, Killer Edition. Dad's bathroom hadn't been touched since his death. I found it in his medicine cabinet. Electric toothbrush. With his DNA in the bristles, Derek's words echoed. Blood is thicker than water, Alex. Funny, because Dad's will called us my beloved sons. But Derek's birth certificate listed father. Unknown. Mom took that secret to her grave. I mailed the toothbrush to a private lab. Full paternal DNA match test. Paid extra for rush results. While waiting, I hacked Derek's cloud, found scans of Dad's real signature, overlaid them on the forged will. Mismatch, 97.3%. The lawyer called it marginally similar. I called it prison time. The lab email hit at 3 a.m. Paternity test results, 0% match. 0. Not 1%, not a fraction. Absolute genetic 0. Derek wasn't just a thief, he was a stranger living in my father's house. I drove to Blackridge Vineyard at dawn. Derek's Porsche sat by the cellar. My cellar. He emerged, sipping $200 bourbon from Dad's favorite tumbler. Early for a beggar, little brother. Who are you? I asked. He froze, glass halfway to lips. What? The DNA test. You're not his son, not even close. His laugh was too sharp. Faked the results? Classy. Toothbrush DNA doesn't lie, unlike you. I threw the bank records at his feet. $750,000 transferred from Dad's trust to your offshore account while he was comatose. Derek's smirk returned. Authorized investment. In what? Panama Document Forging Incorporated? He lunged. I dodged. His fist shattered the tumbler against the cellar door. You'll never prove it. Claire's security cam caught you tampering with her brakes. His face went gray. She was unconscious. Motion activated, uploaded to cloud automatically. I smiled. You should have stolen her phone, too. Claire's penthouse smelled like painkillers and rage. She played the video on her laptop, hand trembling in its cast. Timestamp, 1843, day of accident. Derek in garage hoodie, crouched beside her Porsche. Quick snips, fluid draining, replacing lines with cheap tubing. Why? Her voice broke. The trust transfer documents, I said. You confronted him. He needed you gone. She opened a hidden wall safe, passports, cash, and a USB drive labeled Mom's Secrets. Before she died, Mom gave me this, said to use it if Derek ever turned vicious. The files scorched my soul. Derek's real birth certificate. Father. Unknown. Mom's diary entry. Got pregnant at 21 by a married professor. Paid $10,000 for fake marriage certificate to cover shame. And a $500,000 life insurance policy, naming Derek as Mom's killer if she died accidentally. Claire met my eyes. We end this. Now. Derek's charity auction was peak hypocrisy. A $1,000 plate to fight cancer while he'd watched Dad vomit blood. I wore a waiter's uniform, serving champagne to thieves. His lawyer pulled him aside. Alex filed a motion. Claims the will's forged. Derek snorted. With what? His tears? He has Claire's testimony and a DNA test. Panic flashed. Fix it. Judge Whitaker hates fraud. If Alex brings proof, make it go away. Derek's whisper shout carried. Investors glanced over. I snapped photos. His rage, his fear, perfect for court. As he left, I slipped Claire's USB into his lawyer's briefcase, planted a tracker on Derek's Porsche. Viper would have been proud. 2 days later, Derek's burner phone pinged, a text from Dad's ghost. Meet at the Old Oak, 10 p.m., bring $500,000 cash, or I expose everything. He took the bait, drove deep into the vineyard. I watched from the hillside, night vision goggles painting him green. Show yourself, he yelled, waving a pistol. I triggered the speakers hidden in the vines. Dad's voice boomed, a recording from his last birthday. Derek, my greatest regret was never telling you. You're not mine. Derek fired wildly. Lies! Police lights erupted. SWAT teams rose from the grapes. Agent Vance tackled him, knee on spine. Derek Blackridge, you're under arrest for attempted murder, forgery, and wire fraud. Derek spat dirt. Alex set me up. Vance yanked him up. Funny, We found Claire's USB in your lawyer's office, along with instructions to bribe the judge. I lowered the goggles, tasted copper. Not victory, justice, probate courtroom. 4 smelled like cheap coffee and cheaper lies. Derek sat polished in a $5,000 suit, whispering with his lawyer. When the bailiff called, Alex Blackridge versus estate of Robert Blackridge, he winked at me. You lose. Judge Whittaker, peering over glasses. Mr. Mercer, you allege forgery. Present your evidence. I handed the DNA report to the clerk. Your Honor, the deceased's toothbrush proves Derek Blackridge isn't his son, or mine. Derek shot up. Fabricated. Alex hates me for inheriting. The judge read silently. The air thickened. Outside, rain hammered windows like prison hammers. Judge, lab verified, chain of custody intact. Mr. Blackridge, how do you explain a 0% paternal match? Derek's lawyer, Carson, smoothed his tie. Irrelevant. My client was legally adopted. Then where's the paperwork? Claire's voice cut through, wheeling forward in her cast. Mom never adopted him. I have proof. She nodded to me. I played the recording from Derek's sting. Make it go away. Derek hissing. Judge Whittaker hates fraud. Carson. Then bribe him. Derek. Carson turned ghost white. I withdraw as counsel. Derek screamed. Traitor! Carson dropped a folder on the defense table. Your Honor, full disclosure. Derek had me hide this. The document. Blackridge Vineyard Mineral Assessment. $20 million in lithium deposits. Gasps erupted. Reporters scrambled. Derek lunged for Carson. You promised to burn it. Judge Whittaker. Bailiff, restrain Mr. Blackridge. I stared at the date. Dad commissioned the report after his diagnosis, buried it beneath false environmental surveys. Claire gripped my hand. He knew Derek would steal it, protected us till the end. Derek thrashed against bailiffs. My lithium! My vineyard! The judge's gavel cracked. Given the fraud, DNA results, and attempted bribery, the amended will is void. Estate reverts to original terms. Derek's roar shook the chandeliers. I'll kill you both! San Quentin's visiting room reeked of bleach and despair. Derek glared through bulletproof glass, orange jumpsuit hanging loose. Why are you here? He hissed. The woman leaned close. Mid-60s, silver blonde hair, diamond tennis bracelet glinting under fluorescent lights. Because I'm your mother, Derek. His laugh was jagged. Helen Blackridge is rotting in her grave. Helen paid me $50,000 to carry you. She slid a photo under the glass, young Helen handing cash to a pregnant version of herself. I was Judge Whittaker's housemaid. His brother got me pregnant. Helen couldn't conceive, so she rented my womb. Derek's fist slammed the partition. Lies! Your real name's Daniel Whittaker. She pressed a birth certificate to the glass. Your father died last month, left you $12 million. Guards dragged him away screaming, I'm Derek Blackridge. Claire's cast finally off, she limped to Mom's antique escritoire. Dad said, check the rosewood inlay. We pried it open, hidden compartment. Mom's diary. July 12th, 1985. Paid Martha Whittaker $50,000 to carry Robert's child. His sperm, her egg. She'll disappear after birth. Robert must never know the baby isn't mine. September 3rd, 1985. Martha tried to back out, threatened to expose us. Had to. Persuade her. A newspaper clipping fluttered out. Housemaid dies in hit and run. Martha Whittaker, 22, killed crossing Market Street. Claire vomited into a wastebasket. Mom ordered the hit. I checked the date, 3 days before Derek's birth. Mining executives descended like vultures. Claire held court in the tasting room, leg propped up, sipping Cabernet while they squirmed. $20 million? A Texan in ostrich boots scoffed. That lithium's worth triple. Claire swirled her glass. $45 million, non-negotiable, and you fund a museum honoring the vineyard's history. Or what? She nodded to me. I played Derek's jailhouse meltdown on speaker. I'll burn the vines before you get a penny. Texan paled. He can't access. He escaped an hour ago, Claire said. So, do we have a deal? Pen scratched. Claire smiled. Mom's killer instinct lived on. Fog swallowed the prison transfer van whole. Derek counted seconds. 3, 2. The crash was beautiful. Semi-truck T-boning the van. Guards knocked unconscious. Derek's cuffs clicked open. Thank you, Martha's bribed guard. He snatched a guard's Glock, stole his uniform, disappeared into mist. Martha waited in a stolen BMW. Whitaker Manor, your inheritance awaits. First, Derek cocked the gun. We visit Blackridge. Derek kicked open the tasting room doors, Glock raised. Everybody down. Texan miners hit the floor. Claire stayed seated, swirling her Cabernet. Took you longer than expected, Daniel. He ripped her wine glass away. Sign the lithium deal, now. Or what? You'll shoot your sister? She laughed. Mom would have applauded that. Martha circled behind Derek, eyeing the contracts. Just sign, Claire. We all profit. We? Derek wheeled on her. You said this was about family. It is. Martha smiled. My family's broke. Outside, I crawled through the irrigation tunnel. Derek's voice boomed via hidden mics. Sign or I burn the vines. I twisted the master valve. Water exploded into the lithium shafts. A miner screamed. The tunnels are flooding. Derek ran to the window. Geysers erupted from test drills. What did you do? Claire slid the contracts into the fireplace. Alex just made your lithium worthless. Congratulations, brother. You played yourself. Martha grabbed Derek's gun. Idiot! You ruined everything. She aimed at Claire. Call the mining company. Restart the deal. The lithium's underwater. Claire shrugged. It'll take years to pump out. Derek tackled Martha. They crashed through a wine barrel. Cabernet flowed like blood. A broken gas lamp ignited the spill. Flames raced across the cellar floor. The fire suppression system, Claire yelled. I slammed the emergency button. Nothing. Derek had disabled it last month for renovations. Martha fled through the flames. Derek staggered up, face burned, gun lost. It should have been mine. He roared at me. I threw him Dad's signet ring. He wore this dying, whispered your name. Derek froze. What? He said. Forgive Derek. He never knew he wasn't mine. The roof beam cracked. I dragged Claire out as it crushed Derek's legs. His last scream wasn't pain. It was the sound of a ghost realizing he'd never existed. Burn unit ICU smelled like charred flesh and regret. Derek's body was a mummy of bandages. One eye blinked open. Claire, she leaned close, tears dripping onto his gauze. Why'd you do it, Derek? His ventilator hissed. Mom found Martha's letters, threatened to disinherit me. So You staged her stroke. I gripped the bed rail. The accidental morphine overdose? She deserved it. Blood bubbled on his lips. Called me bastard. Said you were her real child. Claire's fist clenched. You murdered her. And I'd do it. Again. The heart monitor flatlined. Martha chose that moment to kick open the door, wild-eyed, clutching Dad's stolen bonds. Where's my cut? SWAT tackled her mid-scream. Martha Whittaker, you're under arrest for fraud and accessory to murder. She spat at Derek's corpse. Worthless son. 2 weeks later, Judge Whitaker stood on our vineyard porch. Rain silvered his hair. Derek, Daniel, inherited $12 million from his biological father. With no will, it passes to next of kin. He handed Claire documents. You're his half-sister. The money is yours. She stared at the number. I don't want blood money. Then build something good. He pointed to the scorched cellar. Make Derek's ghost watch you succeed. We rebuilt Blackridge Vineyard with iron and irony. Derek's $12 million funded fireproof concrete. Martha's stolen bonds paid for lithium pumps. The tasting room featured a wall of shame. Derek Blackridge, imposter, murderer, stranger. At the reopening, Claire uncorked the first Cabernet. To Dad, who loved the wrong son. The wine tasted like ash and absolution. Claire stood at the lithium mine shaft, Derek's urn cold in her hands. Wind whipped her hair like angry ghosts. You wanted the vineyard, Derek. Now you're part of it. She tipped the ashes into the abyss. Rest in pollution, brother. The mining CEO handed her a check thicker than Dad's old Bible. $50 million for the Robert Blackridge Cancer Center. Ethically sourced lithium, Claire said. No stolen inheritances, no forged documents, just science kicking cancer's ass. I knelt by Dad's grave, marble headstone warmed by morning sun. We fixed it, I whispered. A red-tailed hawk circled overhead. Dad's favorite, approval. Where the tasting room burned, Claire built a stone garden. No roses, no fountains, just one. Derek's forged will, under shattered glass. 2. Mom's diary, opened to paid Martha $50,000. 3. The brake tubing. That crippled Claire for months. Tour groups pause here. Guides say, this family chose truth over legacy. Claire hosts fraud survivors every month. Check your heirs, she tells them, holding Derek's DNA report. Before they check your safe. Double asterisk. 5 years later, I stood where Derek once smirked over fake documents. Claire's son played in the vines. Real Blackridge blood. If you take one thing from this hell, I said to the camera filming my documentary, do these 3 things. 1. DNA test every heir. Swab them at birthday parties if you must. 2. Put estate lawyers on annual audit. Treat wills like software updates. 3. Love like it's borrowed. Because family isn't blood, it's who bleeds for you. Claire wheeled over, leg stiff in winter. And hide a camera in your brake lines. We laughed. The vineyard laughed with us. Sunset stained the grapes blood red. Claire's Cabernet won best in show, the award Derek always faked. I poured 2 glasses at Dad's grave. We kept your legacy alive, not the land. The love. Wind rustled the vines. Thank you, it seemed to say. Now, live. Claire's voice carried from the patio. Alex, stop talking to ghosts. We have investors to fleece. I smiled. Derek was wrong. Blood isn't thicker than water. But wine? Wine is forever. Please like and subscribe for the next revenge story.